I am the artistic director of AATX, and we just wanted to give you an inside look into what we're about with ourselves.
Yeah, and I am the co-director. My name's Erin Kelly of AATX, and yeah, we're just trying to kind of spread the word about AATX and what we're about and who we are and what our mission is, our goals. So we kind of formulated a sort of interview for ourselves to, get the word out about who we are.
Yes.
So for the first question, we just want to do a bunch of like icebreakers, kind of like silly questions to like get into the live streaming flow. So Victoria, if you were a type of fish, what type of fish would you be?
If I were a fish, I'd be a lionfish. You know those fish that are like red and white
with the spines?
Yeah. Yes.
And why?
Because they're colorful and and they're an invasive species. They're very determined.
Does that determination reflect your determination in AATX?
Yes, definitely. It definitely does. I would say so, yes. What about you? What kind of fish would you be?
After thinking it over, I think that I would definitely be a whale shark, excuse me. Because they're pretty and big and their mouths are like a rectangle.
Not answer those other questions. Okay. So a little bit more serious and more on topic. Okay. Since COVID is so rampant, if you could go anywhere, where would you go? Because right now we can't go anywhere, hardly.
Well, that makes it a very difficult question to answer. But I think that if, since COVID is so rampant, I would go onto my balcony. Maybe a little bit like fresh air while not getting sick.
Yes, but if there was no COVID.
Oh, like if there's no COVID.
Yeah, if there was no COVID and you had all the money in the world, you could go anywhere.
I'd probably go to Europe because I've never been to Europe and I'd want to see all the museums and all the art and all the historical architecture. And you?
Probably the same. I would probably also go to Europe and experience all the culture and art and music. It'd be very cool. Do you have any specific place you want to go?
Well, I definitely want to go to Italy, and I probably within Italy, I have to go to Rome, but then I'd also want to go to Milan and Florence.
Milan and Florence. Oh, I'd really want to go to Venice, where they have all the canals.
The water, yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you gotta go before it drowns.
That's true. Hopefully COVID leaves so I can go. Okay. If you could have a billboard with anything on it, what would it say? Like, anything on your mind right now?
I suppose it would say something about. I suppose it would say something about how. I don't know. I've never thought about what I would want on a billboard.
Like any catchphrase that you like?
Maybe like a motivational message, like if you set your mind to it and you can achieve, or hang in there with the little cat on the branch,
Oh,
it's like hanging on to the branch,
yeah,
and it says "hang in there."
That's really good. That's a good one. I like that. Yeah.
Or would you like to put on a billboard?
Adopt, don't shop for animals.
Very nice. Yes, always adopt. Shelters needed.
Mhm.
Okay, so moving on to more serious topics, more closely related to AATX. Now that we're like a little bit more in the flow, what is the biggest area that you're curious about and why? Like within your role as a musician.
Really curious about how music and how we compose music is changing with technology and electronics. Yeah. So I think it'd be interesting to delve into um, electric music, but also more serious electric music. Like I think that's something I have no idea about, but I think it'd be really cool to look into that because I mean our world is changing and technology is coming about, so I might as well change with it, not be yeah.
And
you or
I was going to add, what are some of the things that you're researching, or if you are researching at all?
yeah. Oh, I guess I've been researching lately some about audio engineering and how that works. Oh, and also how science and music are related. I've been reading a book about that, and I finished it, and it's very good and very interesting.
Yeah, the biggest area that I've been curious about for a while now is kind of about history and restoration and what makes a piece of art important enough, or do we have to focus on all of the art? Do we have to focus on remembering every work of art? Not every work of art can be remembered. I mean, we don't really have the capacity to remember and restore and preserve every single work of art.
Yeah.
So what makes art, like some artwork, worthy of remembering it and other artworks not worthy of remembering?
That's a very cool idea. I feel like that can be related to music a lot as well because you'll have all the pieces that everyone always listens to in classical music to define an era, but there's so much more. And yeah, that's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
Like, should we explore? Not only should we explore, but is it important? Or how makes it important?
Mm-hmm.
Things that you were saying.
Yeah. And more also that like some people will find it important. You're bound to find some people that will find certain works of art very important when the vast majority of people may not. And so a work of art will always be important to at least someone, and what qualifies the important historical, necessary art.
Yeah, yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, how would you define an important piece of art?
I suppose something that is able to speak to different people, is able to be easily understood by several different people, even if it's in different ways, and even if it's in a way, like not in a way that the artist originally intended.
Yeah.
As long as someone is able to understand it, then that makes it relevant, at least to someone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Huh, that's very, very cool. Yeah, that's such a good answer. Um, okay, so since COVID, how has your life changed and how have you been able to work around it?
Well, my life has changed in a way that where I have to stay home, and I ended up losing my job, and I had to find a new job online. So that was a change for me, and with the school year, starting to happen in August, that's going to be another new change. The classes are all going to be different, and the way that I go to class and the way that I learn will have to change. So definitely right now there's going to be a lot of changes, especially in the learning environment.
Yeah. Do you look forward to any of those changes?
I do. I think it'll give me a lot of time, like extra time that I don't have to worry about, for instance, commuting to school. That's a lot of extra time that I'll have to really focus on what I'm doing, and also, extra time to focus on AATX and where we're going to go next, and what we're going to continue doing even through the school year.
Yeah.
And how about you? How's COVID changed your life?
Well, since COVID started, I mean, all of classes had to go online, so no more driving. And I found I had a lot of time with that, which you also said. But yeah, I had so much more time to do a lot of things that I enjoy. More like bike riding was one thing that I had a lot of fun doing. And also, I had the fun experience of moving all of my students from my small piano studio of students that I teach from in person to online. And that was quite an adventure because some people would prefer Zoom and some people wanted Skype. And then online lessons are so easy to forget about. So me and my manager, we would have to remind the students. And some parents wouldn't be so familiar with technology, and we'd have to help them with that. And it was a whole fiasco in the beginning, just the transition. But after that, it was really great. I could just wake up in the morning and 10 minutes later be teaching. Not that that was always the case, but it was that close. Instead of having a very long commute to my studio, I could just wake up and teach my students, and that was so nice. Now it's definitely not a substitute for in-person teaching, especially whenever you get into more advanced repertoire. But for students who are learning single note music and very simple music, it works really well. And I'm very glad that I was able to keep that job and most of my students through the transition. Very grateful for that.
Yeah, and in regards to AATX, Aspiring Artists of Texas has really had to make a lot of changes, especially with the upcoming event during the week of July 27th. We've really had to make a lot of changes to accommodate COVID-19. But I think they're important changes because, it's kind of proves that despite all of the craziness going on with COVID-19, the arts are still important and prevalent and like very important to, keep on going and work through.
Yeah, and it's important to keep going and keep trying new ways of doing things because I mean, as the world becomes more wrapped around and involved with technology, we'll just have to adapt. So it's been good to learn how to do an online event, even if we're not live streaming. If we're just posting a series of videos, I think it's good that we're figuring out a way to adapt and stay relevant for the most part.
Yeah, and so basically, for those of you who don't know, what we're going to be doing with our next concert is during the week of July 27th, starting on the 27th, Monday, we're going to be posting, videos of performances that student musicians that have done, and also pictures of artworks that student artists have worked on and submitted to, Aspiring Artists of Texas to be in this next event. We're also going to be doing several interviews over the next couple of weeks, and we're really trying to promote these student artists that need, they need the views, basically.
Yes. Yeah. So, yes. I don't even remember what the question was anymore.
We were talking about how COVID has changed, life.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, and for AATX, not only all of that having to adapt to an online concert, but also realizing that so many meetings can just be an email, and not only that, but meeting virtually can be just as effective as meeting in person.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay, where were we?
What's the biggest challenge that you have with your specific role in AATX right now?
That's such a hard one to answer. Yes, I think the biggest challenge that I am experiencing with my role right now is not necessarily like the things that I do or how I'm doing them, but just finding time and finding time for everything, and like staying true to my role and the demands of it, and emailing the people I need to when I need to email them, and getting confirmation on things. All these small things that I have to do, even though everything in life is changing so much. I just moved to a new apartment, and I'm trying to figure out classes and school and transferring. But yeah, just trying to survive through COVID, and all of that has been the most difficult part of my role right now.
I think for me, I've really had to, step up my role as the co-director and really try and make an effort to like really reach out to student artists, especially because it's so difficult for artists, and it's important that they get this opportunity even in the midst of a pandemic. And so my challenge is that like getting in touch with these artists and trying to help them feel comfortable with presenting their work, getting in contact with professors and trying to be out of my comfort zone and really talk to people about what we're doing and who we support and everything basically. It's not in my comfort zone to be out there and talking to a bunch of people, but it really helps to get that practice.
Yes, yes, and that's why we do what we do, to get that practice and that experience that student artists and musicians will need for the real world. But not only that, to give back to the community that gives so generously to the arts is why we do what we do. Okay. How do you continue to learn in order to stay on top of things within your role?
I think, just simple things like, for instance, I'm having to, really figure out how to effectively make posts on social media. That's something that I'm not really accustomed to doing. I'm not a huge, Facebook user, Instagram user. So one of the huge things that has been really difficult for me is that, I'm having to learn all of these new platforms that I wasn't used to before. And it's difficult because you really have to do all the right things to get your posts seen and heard. And, especially with an online concert, it's 100% important that everyone is able to see what we're posting. It's important that people understand, like people see everything, like all of these artists' work. That's our goal. So I'm really trying to get better at that.
Yeah, and I think for me, yeah, with everything that's been changing, like we said, we've had to learn how to do an online concert, and so I'll set and all of us will set a goal for what we want to do, and then we'll figure out what we want to do within that. So we want to do this online concert, and we found we wanted to do something every day of the week. Now, so we have this goal, and then we have to figure out how to accomplish that goal, and they're so different because even just for this live stream, we had to figure out something. Where we could have other people join us if we wanted to. If we wanted to live stream on Facebook through different routes, either through Skype or Zoom or what we're using right now. So just to figuring out everything it takes to accomplish our goals is how I'm always learning. It's just part of the job.
Honestly, we spent like 2 hours trying to figure out how to live stream. So
yes, because we could do it on Zoom, but it got complicated.
As everything does.
Yes, as everything does. I mean, you make something so simple, and then you find out you have to learn 10 things how to do it. Honestly. Like internet. Yes. But yeah, really the question is just part of the job, learning how to make effective social media posts, and especially keeping up with all the changes that Facebook and Instagram and everything makes to their own social media sites. Some things that used to be effective aren't effective anymore. So you have to always be reading and staying on top of things to figure out what's effective. And it's always a learning process. It's just part of the just part of the job. Okay. Oh, who impacted your artistic journey in the most in your life or in a few?
I think some of the people who really impacted my artistic journey, you know, I had a neighbor who could draw, and I always like looked up to her, and I always wanted to be like her and to draw, and that like encouraged me to, start drawing even if I didn't think I was good. I appreciate my parents that they never said, "Oh, you want to be an artist? Okay, well that's not allowed in this household." No, they were always really supportive, and they were always, telling me that if I wanted to do something, I could do it, and so that was really, really important. Um, and then I think also my fiance has really encouraged me to, do anything that makes me happy. And right now I'm doing that with art history. I'm doing that. I'm doing what makes me happy, and that is what encourages me to keep going. Do you have anyone in your life that really inspired your artistic journey?
Yes. So growing up, I was very involved in my church community, and within my church community, they were so very supportive of the arts, especially music. And so I knew so many great pianists growing up. Just with their giving their senior concerts and knowing them, getting to know them, and hearing their music, it was just so inspiring to me as I was growing up. And it was those moments and watching those people and like listening to their music where I knew that this is really what I wanted to do. So I just think that community has really inspired me.
Mm-hmm. So, the next question: what is one thing that your program did for one of your clients that you didn't expect? I think that the most impactful thing that happened to us that we really didn't expect, we're an organization that strives to help student artists and musicians. And at our last concert, our Aspire to Inspire concert, our accompanist, Ben Sieben, stood up at the end of the concert, and he really thanked us for like giving people this opportunity. And it was really, really impactful that we realized that we're not only affecting student artists, we're also affecting people who are already well accomplished in the industry.
Yeah, yeah, that was amazing. And I have to read this question again. Yeah. Yes. So there's that, and then also people who we've donated to, just um, I don't know, seeing their faces and how much we've really helped. Like with the previous charity, we've helped TWRC. Um, our concert happened in the spring, just before COVID hit and everything shut down. But they were saying that that was the time whenever they were the shortest on supplies because of course in spring, like all the wild animals are like they just need more stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
But seeing how much we were impacting that charity was really amazing.
Yeah, it's always amazing to see, like, to realize, like, wow, even though we're so small, we're not even a year old, really. Our first concert was on the 20th, so we're not even a year old, and we're still able to really help people, even with our small donations. And it just gives me like more hope, and it inspires me to like going, keep going, and to keep growing Aspiring Artists of Texas, so that we can be bigger, we can help more people, we can benefit more charities, and it's really great. Like, it's really great hearing those thank yous from people that we really didn't expect to hear them from. We hear them from the students too, by the way. Just we didn't expect to hear them from other places.
Yeah,
as well.
yes, and that reminds me, one of our composers that we worked with before, one of our student composers, he was able to get, I think it's certified on ASCAP as a composer, because you have to have a certain amount of concerts that your pieces have been performed in, and because of our event, he was able to get that certification. I guess I think it's a certification. But yes, yeah, and that was super great. Yeah, I mean, whenever you do stuff, you have a good idea and you make it happen, but you never see like all, I guess, like the trickle down effect, like everything that's being affected. So
that's what we're here to do, though. We're here to inspire and help artists. So, what's the most important thing that you've learned in your life, from this program or outside of this program?
such a hard one to answer. How about you go first?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think that the most important thing that I've learned in my life is that if you want to do something, then you can do it. No matter what it is, you can do it. You know, and depending on what it is you want to do, it's just going to be hard. But if you want to do it badly enough, you can do it. And it's a huge motivation in my life, because it's not something that makes me think like, oh, well, it's going to be easy, I can do it. But it gives me motivation thinking, well, do I want this badly enough? Like, is it worth it? Yeah, okay, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it good. So yeah, that's kind of the biggest thing in my life that really drives me forward and really like keeps me doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
So have you thought of your
Yes, I
life
did.
changing?
Yes, yeah, because I remember you had such a great answer for that one. But yeah, so kind of along similar lines to that one, something that I learned that was very important, and I remember when I realized it, it kind of just clicked in my brain, and everything was kind of easier after that. Was that people don't really have excuses? Yeah, people don't really have excuses. They have priorities. Which so, for example, if you want to take a trip to Europe, but the timing is always bad, you're just putting the stuff that's getting in the way of your trip as a priority over your trip to Europe. So, if you really want to prioritize that trip to wherever, you have to make that as a priority. And then, like you said, you have to make it happen and work for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and if you want to go move somewhere or do something, have any goals, and you always think, oh, I can't do this because there's a party on Saturday for whatever reason. If you really want to accomplish that goal, you might just have to prioritize your goal over that party. It's not an excuse, it's just a priority that you have to switch around.
That's golden advice, folks, right here.
Yep.
And
Okay.
so speaking of like on AATX, if we could remove, all the barriers and the constraints and, whatever is holding us back, what would AATX be like in your mind?
Oh man. Not having given that really any thought, so this will be an interesting answer. I think it'd be so cool to do a concert and an art show on stage at Carnegie Hall, where we have like art all set up, and then we can have like musicians playing, and so it'll be like an art show and a musical showcase. And then of course, I don't know who we'd help in New York, but we'd find someone like we could help the homeless shelters in New York. Yeah, like if we went to Carnegie Hall, that's what we should help. But yeah, I think that would be so cool. I've always wanted to have a concert where the people are like sitting right there with like the musicians, and then the art could be right there too.
Yeah, I mean, just like think like the bigger we get, the more ability we have to just like impact more people. I don't know. I guess I'm just thinking like us right now, except bigger.
Yeah, like what we do now is already pretty great. I mean,
I
I have
agree.
such a great time doing it. So.
Me too. It's great. You know, we have our events. They're, you know, the musical aspects, the concert, and we have intermissions. We have a break basically where the people get to go around and look at the artwork that our student artists have made. They get to talk to the artists. It's a really great experience. It's so fun to be there.
And something, and along those lines, something that I found so special that as we do these concerts and these art shows that are combined, getting that interaction between artists and musicians is just amazing. Like seeing what the art world is doing right now in the universities in Texas, and then knowing for myself what the music students in universities are doing, and just being able to like talk to them, and because the art world and the music world are so similar in like very many ways, but it's so cool to just talk to my fellow art students who are also in the arts and who are also doing very similar thing in a way. In a way.
Yeah, and it's so cool to, on that note, like hear the feedback from like for artists who are saying like, wow, that was so cool to see what it is that musicians do. Like what is a student musician doing right now? And you know, they never knew until we brought it together, and like vice versa with the musicians and the artists, like, really figuring out what it's like to be on the other side, I guess.
Yeah, it's really just amazing. And we have such a great time most of the time. All the time.
All the time.
So I mean, we have our concerts and we get to really get to know each other well, and everyone gets to network, out business cards, and get other opportunities and stuff. And then afterwards, we all go to IHOP and we can
eat food, relax, and talk about how great our event went.
Yes.
And we're excited to do that with our next event, July 27th. Except we won't go to IHOP.
And it'll be great.
It'll be different, but it'll be a great time. You know, I'm just excited to see, like, I hope that we're able to, like, reach, like, so many more people with the online platform. Like, so many more people are gonna see these artists, and it's not the same as seeing them in person. It's not like it's never the same to view art digitally, to hear music digitally. It's like never the same. It's always worth it to go in person. But under these circumstances, I'm also really excited to, you know, see how far we can reach through an online platform.
Yes, because every concert in our past we've held at the Pearl Fincher Museum, which is a great venue. It's gorgeous. It's wonderful. But we've sold out every single one of our concerts, and so to not have that limit online, like that's kind of an amazing idea, I think.
I think so too. Yeah, I mean, the benefit for the artist, like, having that, again, it's never the same, but especially now when no one is able to go to a museum, to go to a musical concert, it's so worth it to have this opportunity to show like up and coming artists, up and coming musicians, and what they have to offer. It's really cool. I'm super excited to see the feedback, to see the comments on all the videos and the pictures and everything. I'm so excited.
Yes, it will be great. It will be great. Okay, what else do we have?
Is that all our questions?
Was it really?
Wow, they flew by so quickly. We're having such a fun time.
Oh, well, here's one last good question. What's something unexpected in your career path that you had to cope with, but in the AATX mostly, or career?
Something unexpected that I had to cope with. I think that I didn't really realize, I guess how much went on in creating an event, I suppose. Like, I didn't realize how many small factors really mattered. For instance, putting the program together. It doesn't seem like a super huge thing, but it is. It's a very, very big thing. It's very, very
Yes.
long process.
Yeah, and if you've ever seen any program that we've done, they're beautiful. They're gorgeous. They're works of art by our very best. But yeah, they're gorgeous, and yeah, you never think about how much work goes into a program. I was more so thinking you never think you have to buy napkins.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And not only napkins, but tablecloths. Like,
who knew?
Why can't we just have bare tables? No, but we get our tablecloths. But yeah, so yeah, there's that. One thing that I never ever considered would be hard. So in our first concert for AATX, we advertised to artists all online, all through email. Mm-hmm. And it was, I will admit, it was very, very difficult to get artists to join with us. But for our second concert,
we used posters.
And we posted them all around college campuses, mostly UH, but all around college campuses and coffee shops and anywhere they would let us post them. And we got so many applications. I think we got like 15 or something. It was crazy.
I remember when I was hanging them up around UH, I was like, this is not, no one's going to read this. Yeah, we got so many artists just from those posters around UH. And I mean, imagine if we had the time to like go around and hang up posters all around at several different universities. I'm sure that we would have had even like an even larger amount of artists.
Yeah. But would have thought like online communication would be better. Like it's easy, like you just see it. But yeah, we had so many applicants after that. So you can imagine our disappointment whenever we had to go online. We were like, now we have to contact those artists online.
Unfortunately.
But it's a process, and we're learning, and it's
constantly learning, constantly benefiting from what we're learning, and applying everything to the next thing that we do.
Yes, and that's one of our main goals of AATX is to figure out what is it like to do this in the real world. Because I'm not that old. I'm still a student. I don't know what it's like where music is my only income, or where that's my life and I have to work for it. Like, this is what we do to learn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm super happy with like how far we've come and that we've really been able to like do so much so far. I mean, I remember when we were first starting out and we went to an artist talk and we asked the host of the artist talk, we asked him, we're working with students and we want some advice, what can we do to like do better? And he was like, don't work with students.
Yeah, he was also like that.
Yeah, both. He said both.
He said quit, join a different organization, and then he was like, just don't work with students. They just don't want it that bad, which is not true.
It's not true at all.
We are here to prove that wrong.
Here, and we're determined to prove that wrong. I know from experience that all of you students out there, you want just as much of a chance as anyone else. Mm-hmm. So, we're here to provide that chance. If we're right for you, we're here to help you. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's our last question.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this. Actually.
Yeah. We were so nervous about this. Y'all don't even know, because we've never done anything like this before. I've never live streamed. I've never. But this was, I had a lot of fun. It was great. And it's a good experience because we'll have lots of more interviews coming up, and I can't wait to share this with you.
Definitely.
And
next Friday we're going to have an interview with Ben Steven. We've had him as our accompanist in the past.
Yes, and in that interview you'll get the inside scoop on what it's like to be a professional musician and how to make it in the music world professionally. So it'll be excited. Yes. Yeah. So stay tuned for all of our interviews that we'll have coming up, and then especially stay tuned for our Speak Week and our Speak Week and hashtag Be Brave Week, where we'll be posting art and music, and we'll have more interviews, and we'll be raising money for Mothers Against Police Brutality in the hope of reform.
Yes.
which is greatly needed in these times. We all believe.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. Make sure to follow our Aspiring Artists of Texas Facebook page so that you're notified and you're getting posts about, what we're doing, even past our July concert. So
Yes, follow us,
there
like
or
us.
be square.
Yes, follow us, like us on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. Just everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yes, well, thank you for tuning in, everyone who's stayed for this tonight, and of course, it'll be here tomorrow, so just watch it if you missed it.